students. So we shall continue to the different structural form system we had seen in the last lecture about shear wall. So next we shall see is about the wall frame system. It is also called as the dual system. So dual means there are two forms here. So here we can see that it consists of the wall and a frame. So the wall may be the shear wall and the frame is a rigid frame. So they act horizontally to provide a stronger and a stiffer system, because these shear walls and these rigid frames which are there, they tend to deflect in a combined manner. That is, the deflected shape will have a common deflected shape by the horizontal rigidity of the girders and the slabs. The walls are usually solid, that is, these walls which are present shear walls, they are usually solid and they are not perforated by openings, that is, no openings are provided, and they can be provided around the stairways or the elevator shafts, or it may be around the perimeter of the buildings, and they are suitable for the story ranging from 40 to 60 story. So which is greater than that of the shear or the rigid frames. So when they are used separately, that is, if the shear walls or the rigid frames are used separately, they may not be used up to this story height. So when they are combined, they can be used for a greater stories. Now these braced frames and the steel rigid frames, they provide the similar advantages for the horizontal interactions. That is, when the horizontal loading is acting. So when this wall frame structure, that is the dual system, if it is tuned properly, then the shear in the frame can be made approximately uniform throughout the height. So because of that, that is, if the shear is uniform throughout the height, so the repetitive floor pattern can be adopted. So because of that, if the repetitive floor pattern is there, it becomes economical. So this is about the wall frame system or the dual system. It is the shear wall and the rigid frames. Next we have is the coupled wall system. So now this coupled wall system, herein you will be having the shear walls, that is, a wall system is shear wall which is composed of two or more interconnected shear walls. Okay, these shear walls which will be there, they will be interconnected. It may be in the same plane or may not be in the same plane. So now these shear walls, they will be connected at each floor level by a beam or a stiff slab. The we can say here coupling beam or the stiff slab. Now this whole system, that is the composed of two or more shear walls, they will provide a greater stiffness and than that of the individual components. And the effect of this shear resisting connecting members is to cause the set of the walls to behave in the plane. So these walls which are there, it will make them to behave in the same plane as a composite cantilever and bending about the common axis, bending about the common centroidal axis. Now they often occur in residential buildings with lateral load resisting cross walls. That is, these shear walls, they may be in trios or it may be in the pairs, that is 2, 3. So these shear walls will be there and they resist the lateral load. So in between you may have the openings, here you can see. So if there are 2 or 3 shear walls, in between there may be provided any openings. So those openings may be a corridor or a window. Now this coupled wall system is suitable for the buildings say up to height of 40 stories. And they are suitable for concrete constructions and occasionally for the heavy plate steel structures, that is the box girders or any steel frame structures. So this is the coupled wall system wherein you will be having more number of shear walls coupled. Next we have is the tube structural system. So I'll show you the photos first. In this you will be studying tube is frame tube system, bundled tube system, trussed tube system and tube in a tube system. This is also called as the hull and the core system here. So these are the divisions of the tube system. So we shall see what is a tube structural system. So here it will be having the exterior columns, that is outside you will be having the columns and the beams, they create the rigid frame. They'll be having exterior columns and the beams which will provide a rigid frame and which can carry lateral as well as the gravity loading. Okay, so exterior columns and beams, they carry the lateral loading and the gravity loading, whereas the interior part of the system which is there, it will be designed only to support the gravity loads, right? So a tube will be formed, that is they have given here, it will behave like an equivalent hollow tube. So in this hollow tube which is there, exterior part or the exterior columns and beams which are there, they will resist the lateral as well as gravity, whereas the interior part will resist only the gravity loads. Now here the frame will consist of closely spaced columns. So here you can see, here it will be having the columns which are there, they will be closely spaced. Okay, in case of this frame tube system, they'll be having the columns which are closely spaced and they'll be joined by deep girders. So now if the lateral load is acting, the horizontal load, and if the frame is aligned in the direction of loading, as the direction of the loading and the frame is in the same direction, it will act as the web, whereas these which are normal to the loading will act as the flanges. Now since these columns, as we have seen, they are closely spaced, so there will be same spacing and the same number of columns throughout the height of the building, but it will not be acceptable when it is at the entrance level. So at the entrance level you will not like any more number of columns there. So to avoid that, what they do is these columns will be terminated or they will be merged to transfer it on a beam above the base. So to avoid the number of columns at the base at the entrance, what they do is they terminate or they merge these beams, they terminate or merge these columns and transfer it on the beams. It is substantially economic and it will need half of the material when it is required for the ordinary frame buildings. So hence it will prove to be economical one, and it is also used for the construction of the building, say of about 40 to 100 stories with RCC, or it may be used also for steel, where the lateral loads resisted will be due to the connections, you providing various connections, the rigid, semi-rigid connections, and also by providing bracing and the truss elements. So it can be used for RCC as well as the steel construction here. Since it has a repetitive pattern, hence makes it used for the rapid construction, it is efficient and can be easily constructed. So this tube structural system which is there, it is a modern development in the high-rise structural forms. So now let us see the different types here. So this is a frame tube, bundle tube, trussed one, and a tube-in tube. So framed is wherein the frame system will be there. Here you can see this is the frame system provided, or the frame tube which will carry the outer one frame tube, which will carry the gravity as well as the lateral, and the inner one which are there, they will resist only the gravity one. So now first is we can see, next is trussed tube system, wherein the trussed tube system will consist of the external bracings. Now this is a trussed tube system. Here you will be having the external bracings throughout the height of this building here. So now here in external, here the external bracings will be provided, which makes it much the structure stiffer, and this structure will be suitable for say up to 100 stories. And the steel tube which is there, the bracing traverses the faces of the rigid frame. So the rigid frame which is there, the bracing will be present at that frame there. And in concrete, the bracing will be in the form by the diagonal patterns of the concrete window size panels. So bracings will be provided in the diagonal pattern of the concrete window size if it is RCC here. And thus these diagonals of the braced tubes, they will be connected to the columns, and due to that they will eliminate the effect of shear lag in both the web and the flange, and they will reduce the bending of the frame. So shear lag is where the flange will be moving apart from the web here. So due that shear lag will be avoided as the bracings will be provided, and thus they reduce the bending in the frames. Next one is bundle tubes. Here you can see bundles. So here what you can see is there are many number of bundle tubes which are present around the perimeter of the building. So in bundle tube, what happens? It consists of, or it is connected with tubes that withstand the massive load. So they provide a larger amount of stiffness, and the internal webs, they will reduce the shear flanges, shear lags in the flange, and the columns will be evenly stressed, and they give the lateral greater amount of lateral stiffness. That is the bundle tube system. Next is the tube in tube, also called as the hull core. So here I have shown a tube in tube. This is the hull, that is outside part, and the core inside one is there. So a tube is present outside, and again inside one more tube is there. So this is called as tube in tube system, wherein the core is placed inside the outer tube frame. The outer tube frame is called as the hull structure, and inside it may be an internal elevator or the service core. So together they will jointly act, and they will resist the gravity and the lateral loading, and they will interact horizontally as the shear and the flexural components, and thus they will increase the stiffness there. And in steel frames, the cores which are present inside, it may be, or it may be consisting of braced frames, and if it is a concrete, it may consist of the shear walls. That is this core part which is there, it may be a braced one or the shear wall. So all these are the tube systems. Next we have is the core structure system, or the core structural form of system here. So in this, the central core consists of shear wall or a braced frame. So this is the core here, you can see at the center. These are the cantilever slabs, and here it is differentiated is individually cantilevered floor, where you can see each floor is cantilever one, whereas here the floors are as in the shape, and at certain intervals you will be having a cantilever support, so that it supports the different floors there. So this will resist the lateral as well as the gravity loads. The central core which is there, it will resist, or it will support this lateral and the gravity loads. And since one single column or the core will be present, it eliminates the columns around. And this core is inefficient because it is not deep in respect to bending. So bending problem will be there because of that. So this core will be inefficient. Then the central core, as I said, it may be of shear wall or the braced frames, and the slabs, they will be supported at each level. So here you can see at each level it may be supported by cantilevers which are originating from the cores. And these slabs, it may be supported between the core and the perimeter column. So if column is present at the outer edge, so it will be supported, these floors will be supported between the slabs are supported between the core, the central part, and the perimeter column here. So these may be, that is to terminate this either on the major cantilever, that is these floors, they will terminate on the major cantilever at certain intervals, or the floor will be itself the cantilevered one. So the merits of this is only for the architectural purpose, as it provides a column free perimeter. The next we have is the outrigger structural system. Now in this figure you can see the outrigger structural system. They are the outriggers which is there. Here you can see these are called as the outriggers. So these outriggers, they will be rigid horizontal structures. They are nothing but the horizontal structures which are designed to improve the building's overturning stiffness. So as the wind load will be acting, the overturning effect will take place. So to avoid that, to provide the stiffness, these outriggers are provided. So these are the outriggers. Here you can see. So they are nothing but the rigid horizontal structures, and they are connected. These will be connecting the core and the outer column. So these outriggers which are there, they will connect this central core and the outer columns. So this form, that is a outrigger structure system, consists of the central core, which may be braced frame or the shear wall, and with horizontal cantilever outrigger trusses. And these outrigger trusses will be connecting the core to the outer column, and which makes it behave as a cantilever. The whole thing makes it behave as a composite cantilever. Now these outriggers which are there, they may be of walls. It may be of the wall if it is RC building, and they may be a truss in case of the steel. So here you can see it is shown as a truss here. So a truss in the steel structures. So now these outriggers can be provided at certain intervals, or you can say multiple outrigger systems can be provided, since it increases the movement resistance when compared to a single by 5 times. When you provide a single outrigger system, it provides a less resistance, whereas if you provide multi-level, it will provide a 5 times the single compared to the single outrigger system. So now when these building is loaded when it is loaded horizontally, the vertical plane rotations of the core, they will be restrained by these outriggers here through tension. So now as we can see here, this is the loading acting, you can see shown here. So what does this outriggers? This tension will be acting on the windward side. Wherever the wind is acting, here is a tension, and on the leeward side it will be compression. So because of that, the vertical plane rotations will be restrained when you use these outriggers at certain intervals. Now this outrigger system, when it is used for buildings, it can be used up to 70 stories or even higher. And not only does this outrigger system, they decline the building deformations, that is the bending, overturning resulting from the overturning, but also it causes the greater efficiency for resisting these lateral loadings. Next is hybrid structural system. So these hybrid structural system we go in when the shape of the building or the shape of the structure is non-prismatic, or it may be non-regular shape which has large cutouts, or there may be large grooves present, that is the facet and the fluttings. It may be a modern type, or you can say the post-modern buildings. Then we can go for this hybrid structural system. So regular shapes and all we'll be studying with those other system, wherein here the hybrid structure, non-regular shapes will be used. So here it will be a combination of 2 or more structural forms. So here also you will be having more number of structural forms, but wherein these structural forms can be used, say for one face one structural form, for the other side of the face other structural form. So by adopting different forms in different parts of the structure, that is different part of the structure can have different structural form there. So here in this first you can see here is on one side here you have the frame tube, whereas inside you have the core and the outrigger system. Whereas in this figure here you can see is on the 3 sides, 1, 2 and the third side, it is a frame tube on the 3 faces of the building, and on the 4th face you have the space frame. So on this 4th face you have the space frame, on the other 3 you have the frame tube. So this type of structural system is called as the hybrid structural system, and it can be used for the buildings as high as 300 meters. So this gives you the different structural systems you will be studying. Thank you.